to and from non-Iranian ports.
This is Sepang Navy Station. You must alter course and go back to the Indian Ocean immediately. If you
Stop what you're doing and listen to this radio exchange. That's the Iranian Navy literally threatening a U.S.-led coalition warship in the Strait of Hormuz. We are officially in the standoff phase, where one wrong move triggers a global catastrophe.
And obey my order, you will be targeted. Out.
This is Coalition Warship 121. Engage in transit passage.
Did you hear the absolute ice in the voice of that coalition commander? He didn't even flinch. He just cited international law and kept moving. It's wild because while it sounds like a routine check, this is the first time we've seen the full blockade enforced with this level of aggression. If you look at the geography here, the U.S. is basically sitting at the mouth of the strait, acting as a bouncer. They aren't stopping everyone, only the ships heading to or from Iranian ports. This is a surgical economic strike, not a total trade shutoff. The crazy part is how quiet the rest of the world is being right now. Usually, you'd see a massive diplomatic outcry, but the sheer naval presence in the Gulf of Oman has everyone holding their breath. Look at how the Iranian fast attack boats are hovering just outside the engagement zone. They know that if they cross that invisible line, there's no going back. It's a high-stakes game of chicken, where the price of losing is a complete regional meltdown.
As far as China is concerned, China can send their ships to us. China can send their ships to Venezuela. We told them, buy from Venezuela. We have a lot of overcapacity. We'd sell them, and we'll probably sell it for even less money. I have a very good relationship with President Xi of China. We work together very well. They're paying us substantial money.
This is the pivot that no one saw coming. Instead of just threatening fire and brimstone, there's a massive economic carrot being offered to China. By telling Beijing to just buy from Venezuela or even from the U.S. at a discount, it's an attempt to decouple China from the Iranian regime entirely. If China takes this deal, Iran loses its only major customer and its only real geopolitical shield. Notice the mention of overcapacity. The strategy here is to flood the market so China doesn't feel the pinch of the blockade. But look at the subtext. It's also a warning that the U.S. is ready to weaponize its own oil production to ensure this blockade sticks. You have to wonder if President Xi is actually considering it. Switching suppliers is a massive logistical headache, but getting caught in the middle of a U.S.-Iran naval kinetic conflict is way worse for business. It's a brilliant, if brutal, way to isolate a target before the real pressure starts. That is the magic number everyone needs to be watching right now. This report highlights that Iran's oil storage is almost at its absolute limit. When you can't export and your tanks are full, you have to shut in the wells. For those who don't know, once you cap an old oil well under pressure, you risk permanent damage to the reservoir. They might never get that production back. This isn't just a temporary financial hit, it's the potential permanent deconstruction of their entire economy. You can see why the rhetoric coming out of Tehran is getting so desperate. They are looking at a total revenue collapse in less than 2 weeks. Every day this blockade holds, they lose $200 million. Think about the internal pressure that creates within their government. It's a ticking time bomb that doesn't require a single missile to be fired to do massive damage. The question is, do they fold or do they lash out before the clock hits zero?
See some of the traffic from today on this map, some of the vessels using the original channel, but most still opting to use Iran's new toll booth channel.
Check out this map. It tells the whole story. You can see the cluster of vessels trying to decide whether to use the original international channel or risk the toll booth channel Iran tried to set up. Most of the traffic is now pivoting back to the main waterway because the U.S. Navy is literally standing guard there. It's like a massive traffic cop operation in the middle of the world's most dangerous choke point. If you look closely at the ship icons, the ones departing Iranian ports are virtually non-existent now. The blockade is physically visible on tracking software. This is what modern warfare looks like before the hot phase starts. It's about controlling the lanes, managing the flow, and slowly suffocating the opponent's ability to interact with the outside world. The logistics required to keep 15 warships perfectly stationed to maintain this line is staggering. One gap in that line and the whole strategy fails, which is why the tension on those decks must be off the charts right now.
China today announcing that it will continue to transit the Strait of Hormuz, warning the United States against.
China is officially calling the bluff. By stating they will continue to honor their agreements with Iran, they are basically daring the U.S. Navy to board a Chinese-flagged tanker. This is the ultimate nightmare scenario for the Pentagon. If they let a Chinese ship through, the blockade is a joke. If they stop it, they are in a direct confrontation with the world's other superpower. But notice the phrasing. They mention international affairs and affairs of Iran. They are trying to frame this as a sovereignty issue. It's a classic move to see how far the U.S. is willing to push the impartiality of the blockade. The next 48 hours will be critical. If a Chinese tanker approaches that line and the U.S. warships don't move, we're looking at a new era of global tension. It's no longer just about Iran. It's about who actually owns the rights to the high seas. This threat from the Iranian speaker is a direct message to the American voter. By mentioning nostalgic gas prices, he's trying to trigger a political backlash inside the U.S. It's a reminder that Iran still thinks they can win by making the economic costs too high for the West to stomach. Oil is already up 6% today, hovering around $103 a barrel. If it hits $120 or $150, the political pressure to end the blockade will be immense. It's a fascinating bit of psychological warfare, fighting a naval blockade with a social media post designed to scare people at the pump. But if the U.S. is successful in diverting China to other sources, this oil weapon loses its edge. It all comes back to whether the market believes this blockade is permanent or just a temporary flex. Right now, the market is betting on the chaos. The clock is ticking on that 13-day window. Drop a comment. Do you think China actually blinks first? Hit subscribe to stay on top of this.